Fog Entertainment is back again with another movie review, and it is a cinema movie review because this was in the cinema, and I think when you watch movies in the cinema, it gives you a different feel. It's more authentic. And this movie though was pretty pointless, and we're looking at The Nun II. Now we have reviewed The Nun. That is on the channel. I believe it was a couple of months ago. But for this one, it was pointless, right? And you know what? I can accept movies being bad if there's actually a purpose to it, right? This one, it's not particularly an awful movie, but when a movie serves no point, it's like, what was the point of that? That is literally the question you're left asking. You sit through a 2 hour movie and you're like, that's interesting, because what the fuck was the point of this, right? Because, of course, in this Conjuring universe, so to speak, it would have made total sense for this movie to center around like the exorcism of Frenchie, so to speak, right? Maurice, played by Jonas Bloquet. But guess what? That is not the way this movie decided to go, because that looks like what they're doing for the third one. Even though this movie is actually centered around the fact that Maurice is possessed, it looks like that's going to be the third one. Or the fucked up, because we've seen in The Conjuring there was flashbacks with this phallic demonic nun creature, whatever. We've seen like the exorcism of Maurice in previous movies, like clippets of it. So obviously when they do shit like that, that means, we're going to make a full 2 hour movie about that, just to milk this guy. And I thought that's what this movie was going to be. To me, that would make total sense, but it turns out they're actually just scraping a movie out of this to produce another one. And for me, that is absolutely mental that's the route that we are actually going down here. But anyway, this movie essentially plays two plot lines. We have got Sister Irene and Deborah the nun as well. They of course are in London or whatever. And they are, the fact is Deborah's not really good at being a nun. That's pretty much their story. Well, Maurice is in France. He's in Oui in a Porphyry. Was it better than Daryl Dixon's attempt at France? Probably, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was a great movie. IDMB has gave this a 6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 48%. I think that's pretty, well, not pretty high. Like, I'm not going to give it like a 0, but like, as I say, these two storylines essentially like overlap with each other, but there has been numerous murders across Europe, seemingly possessed murders. And it turns out once Sister Irene is told that a handyman by the name of Mauricio has been involved in, like, I think she got mentioned 2 here. She kind of puts 2 and 2 together, like, holy fuck, that night he saved me in the first movie means that the demon latched itself onto him and is now wreaking havoc. And I actually enjoyed the cold open of the priest just going up in flames and the kid surviving. But I think it was very slow. Like when Maurice, he's in like a Catholic school. We've got the teacher there, Kate, with some other woman that I can't even remember. Dame, her name was Dame, and then with just a bunch of kids. And the only kid we focus on is Kate's daughter, Sophie. And Sophie and Maurice have a weird relationship, right? Maurice is like 30. This kid is like what, 11, and like the way they interact is just weird. Like, all right, Captain, and then there's a scene later in the movie where Maurice is dancing with Sophie. Then Sophie's like, "Here, Mum, do you not want to dance with Maurice?" And she's like, "No, I like you dancing with him." What? Seems like a bit of fucking grooming going on here. But as I said, both stories eventually do overlap. Mauricio is spotted down at like the cellar door, and then Dame comes down. She ends up getting killed by the possessed no after seeing visions of her son who was killed during World War II. But as Sister Irene and Deborah managed to figure this out, they're heading to France. We're going to Oui. We're going to this Catholic school. And by the time they get there, though, it is too late, because Mauricio is absolutely wreaking havoc. And the whole gimmick as well, we've got in that cellar door where once the light shines through the bull's eye, that's like the true form of the devil. So we see a big creature with fucking horns running about. Bit creepy, if you ask me, because it was a bit, seeing a big creature running like this, running about a fucking private school is a bit nonsense, man. And the fact it's a big demon, devil worshipping thing, it doesn't make it exactly for sore eyes. But talking of eyes, that is the whole gimmick here. The whole way to bring down this demon is to use the ancient eyes of Lucy the Saint, who was killed, and because she wouldn't burn, they actually gouged her eyes out And that to me is just, I think the whole demon stuff, right? I mean, this goes for like, I mean, I say the whole world. I mean, I guess for the movies, I think they just make stuff up as they go along. I mean, of course they do, but it's like certain stuff does this, but certain stuff doesn't do that. I mean, I get it, right? You're bringing like, it's the afterworld, but I think there has to be a wee bit of fucking common sense in there as well for me. But Mauricio, he becomes fully possessed. He needs these eyes, so it becomes like a tug of war about who's going to get the eyes. Sophie manages to get the eyes. Their sister Irene is incapacitated. She gets like fucking gored through a window. Mauricio gores her through the window. He manages to follow Sophie to the roof. The clock tower then starts collapsing once he has seen these eyes, because of course that is the weakness. And then we eventually get down to the bottom, and Sister Irene whips out the eyes again, and it looks like we're going to kill the demonic nun here, possessed as Maurice. But guess what? No, it's like a trick. It pretended to be dead, and then it gets the eyes off him. And then at this point, we think Sister Irene's dead because she's going up in flames, right? So she's going up, like, her whole body in flames here, right? It's pretty much for her feet up to her torso is on fire. And when I say on fire, I mean it's the biggest fire you've ever seen. So how can she be alright after this? Like, because this is happening. This is real. This ain't a dream or whatever. So how come after this whole situation is diffused, she's not got burns on her? Now, I know people would be like, oh, you're looking too much at it. No, I like a bit of fucking realism. You can bring demons and all in, right? But what the fuck? To me, this is just retarded. So what about these movies where, you know, you've got things like this and people get slashed? Like, the wee kid got fucking stabbed by the devil's, like, horn, and she's still suffering for that. But what, here she is with, 27-degree burns, and what, there's not her first degree, whatever, it's the fucking worst. I don't know, man. Burns, serious burns and nothing. Ah, man, ridiculous. But like I said, because Deborah believes, what happens? The wine turns into Jesus Christ's blood, and that means it killed the demon nun, and that's pretty much where your movie ends. Mauricio is saved, and it's like, right, so this ain't the second one then, and then Sister Irene gives him a look at, oh shit, he's still possessed, and then that's where your movie ends. And then we get a wee cameo for Ed and Lorraine, but guess what, that does nothing for me. I don't give a fuck about these two appearing, because the movie itself was pretty garbage, and as I said at the start of this review, it was pointless. It was absolutely I fucking hate movies that just exist for the sake of existing. Like, there's just no purpose to this movie. Like, no one relevant dies, and the main one of the main characters from the first one, the priest, is killed off screen, and it's not even a case of here he's in the movie but he gets killed. He's not even in the fucking movie. It's just a throwaway scene. Some guy's like, yes, the priest, he did. That's it. That's all you get from him. I mean, what sort of fucking movie does that? Some guy speaking the deepest French accent you'll ever get said he did. Anyway, I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10. Like I said, it's not an awful movie. Like, the production value's there. There's certain good scenes, but overall, it's like when people talk about, oh, is there a season of that TV show I could skip? Is there a movie in that franchise I could skip? Absolutely, this can get skipped, man. Waste of time, pointless. 4 out of 10. Good night.